Are you even listening? The KritzKast. The TF2 podcast. With these jerks.
Hello, I don't know why I'm surprised. Hello everybody, my name is Aggro. I'm a pyro, and I'm I have food. No, I have drink. I'm currently drinking Brewdog Punk IPA because I seem to have accidentally bought about 14 cans of this stuff. So I need to get through it. Anyway, together with me and my enormous amount of alcohol, I have with me two extraordinary, wonderful, and gracious, gentle persons, possibly the likes of whom you may have seen before in your lives. I am, of course, talking about the indubitably gorgeous and seemingly...
Get to the point!
Oh, okay. This person, UEAKCrash.
Hey, I'm UEAKCrash. I'm making the maps. I currently have King of the Hill Probed and Moonshine Event in the game. I also did the set design for Agent Gunn, Saxxy, that won Best Overall recently. Well, and I'm currently drinking some prestigious Michigan well water.
Is that a beer? Or
no, it's just water.
Right,
it's a little early for me. Otherwise, I would have had some like really epic microbrew that I could have like flexed my beer prowess, but it's too early.
It's like 10 o'clock in the morning or something stupid for you, isn't it?
No, it's like 4 in the afternoon.
That's not too early.
But I got shit to do before. Like I don't want to get shit faced and then like go do chores and errands.
Hey, it makes chores and errands so much more fun. Anyway, together with me and a slightly sober UEAKCrash, there is a hopefully drinking FryingDutchman.
I have to disappoint. I'm drinking water.
This is awful. I can't be the only one getting more and more plastered throughout
You're
the show.
teetotalers.
Well, I can grab a bottle of vodka. It's possible.
You should do that. Go quickly, grab. No. But before we do that, flying. I'm always going to get that wrong. FryingDutchman, welcome to the show. It's your first time on?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being here. You make everything wonderful.
Well, that's great to hear.
You also make things as well for TF2.
That's correct. I'm a workshop contributor. I've had a couple of items already accepted into Team Fortress 2, and besides that, I've worked on Agent Gunn, of course, making things pretty and just helping out all of the other artists. And in a nutshell, that's me. I make things pretty for games. Ta-da!
Ooh, pretty things for games. Right. So before we launch into what will be the essence of this show, the core of the show, the meat and 2 potatoes of this episode of KritzKast, for which I'm not entirely certain what episode we're on at the moment. I think it's 450 something, probably 7. But let's say 7. Right, before we get into that, I need to mention 2 things. First of which is the SFM competition that we had going with Team Source TF. Unfortunately, it's not teamsource.tf because that would be an amazing URL, but it's taken by someone else. Anyway, Team Source TF did an amazing SFM competition, the results of which will be announced not today. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen right today. But we did have some amazing entries, and we are very, very pleased to be able to show those to you live on stream this coming week. For the other thing which I desperately need to mention, which is the Copenhagen Games. I'm actually looking at the website for that. That's land.teamfortress2.com. And there'll be beautiful things appearing in this URL in the up-and-coming moments. So there's going to be lots of Highlander, lots of 6s, and lots of gorgeous things for you to feast your eyes on. I've been talking to the people who are making the stuff behind the scene, and even in the lowest and smallest of forms, it looks gorgeous and wonderful. So we're hoping to be able to bring you the best of European Team Fortress 2 for like a LAN experience. So anyway, that's coming up next week. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Oh, and the last thing, before we really sink our teeth into the Saxxys, is something that has come up on the forums, on the official Team Fortress 2 blog, which is, of course, Journey to the East, which has, I'm reliably informed, if through the powers of Twitter, has nothing whatsoever to do with TF2maps.net.
despite being hosted on it. That's all.
Yeah.
It's like TF2 Maps just is hosting the site. It's not a mapping contest though, but it does look like a cool like modeling contest in general.
And possibly going to be the next community-made project, even though Valve has said they're not going to do community-made projects anymore.
And there's nothing guaranteed. It's likely most of these things are just, hey, everybody come make cool stuff, catered around this one thing.
But
that's usually all these projects are now.
You're going to do it with there's medals that people can win. And,
yeah.
And gift tokens, cosmetics, and sorry. You're looking for cosmetics, weapons, war paints, and map props. So even if none of this makes it into the game, there's still a chance that you can walk away with money pocket lining goodness, which is always good to see. Anyway,
and then there's more cool stuff made too on the for TF2 in general.
Exactly.
That's the big idea.
Before I go into the Saxxys, Frying, are you entering anything into this?
Am I entering this competition?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. My computer has kicked a bucket, so I need to first repair that, and then hopefully once I got it repaired, then I'll team up with some talented folk and maybe get something out.
Do you actually need a computer to do what you do? Can't you just like imagine it in your mind, and then use your powers of TF2ness to grant that access to? What do you need? Okay, let's get real for a moment. What do you actually need to make the things that you make?
To make the things that I make, well, first of all, a healthy dose of alcohol.
Okay.
Some bad imagination. And then hopefully access to a computer with internet and power. And then you're halfway there.
I'd like to imagine there's more to it than that. But so what do you work in? What applications do you work in?
Applications I work in. I work for my 3D modeling in Autodesk Maya. And besides that, my current workflow includes Substance Painter, which is doing all the textures, all the fancy work. Once in a while, I still boot up Photoshop, still for my texture work when it comes to Team Fortress 2. And yeah, besides that, you need to get your fancy models and fancy textures into the game. So you need Crowbar to compile and decompile everything. And then you have VTF Edit and the Half-Life Model Viewer to view your models, of course. And very quickly, in a nutshell, that's all the programs. Oh, I use Marmoset Toolbag 3 as well to get my bakes going.
So to get your bakes going, is there cakes in this?
Yes. As a Dutchman, I need to keep the tradition alive of getting baked.
Oh, I see.
No, but the actual thing when it comes to 3D modeling, you want to have your 3D information baked into a 2D map. For example, your ambient occlusion is a map of where all your shadows are if it's lit. So all the creases in, for example, a gun, that's baked, and then you got all the shadow information already done inside of a texture.
You've lost me already, but I'm fine with that. So how is it you come by this knowledge that enables you to do the things that you do?
Years and years of practice, mostly. Like I'm currently in my 5th year of university, so they taught me like how to do all the stuff there. Before that, I already started with Team Fortress 2 and doing these kind of things for the workshop. And then it was just meeting people who know more than you, and hopefully they share the knowledge. And otherwise, tutorials.
Because back in the day, when things being added to the game was almost like a glimmer in the eye of the insecure masses, I don't know why I suddenly kludged the masses together as some sort of huddling, shivering bunch. But back in the day, like people were all kind of, hey, come in, be part of this crowd. Is it much more? Is it still that kind of lovey-dovey experience, or are people sort of fighting over each other to get the right people for their team? And is it still lovey?
That's a really tough question. As I'd say yes and no. Like, of course, everyone is older now. People know who they are, who they work with, what they can do, and of course want to work together with the people that actually know what they're doing. And that leaves all of the people who are new a bit lost. Luckily, we still have the whole Team Fortress 2 Emporium, and it's open for everyone to join and get help and get feedback. And plenty of the old folk, like, well, I wouldn't say me, but plenty of other older contributors are still out there in the community to give advice, feedback to all the new people that need it. And I've seen it still happen that out of nowhere, new people join, band together, and suddenly get items out. And if they keep the grind on of making items, they get it in game eventually.
I mean, the chance of actually getting something in game is very real. As in, every now and again, it used to be every sort of 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever timeline Valve were keeping. That there would be additional additional items added. This is very clear, by the way. So that has slowed down almost to a crawl, I'd say, to the point now where every 6 months to 8 months there'll be a bunch of stuff added. Is the feeling still good around the item making community that work hard, do your thing, be professional, and you'll be rewarded?
That mentality is something you should always strive for, most definitely. But yeah, but how slowly currently Team Fortress 2 goes, it's anyone's guess, really, as nobody knows, and Valve in the end is, of course, the one that selects the items that go in. And there's plenty of times where people are very confused as to the quality and what exactly goes in game.
What people what Valve is looking for as opposed to what the people are looking for.
What Valve is looking for, well, like I said, no one knows. Valve is Valve. Like, it's anyone's game. So as long as you keep up the work, do what you find fun, and what you want to do, put it up on the workshop, you've got as good chance as everyone else.
Which is good, because you really want to have the same. You want to have equal opportunity for all.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, they used to have, sort of thinking back for when Laro was still creating stuff. Like, he was always the go-to guy, and it must have felt sort of a little bit impossible to get to that position. But really, anyone's game at the moment. So, right, that is a brief introduction to making items for the game, and thank you very much for sharing that with us. But realistically, what we've got you in for today is to celebrate the Saxxys.
Woo!
Woo, Saxxys!
Woohoo! Which we thought would never come. So the Saxxys are 2017 Saxxys, even though it's quite clearly now 2018.
We want both. Just both.
We're just gonna call it both.
Really? So you guys are not holding out hope that there's going to be a 2018 Saxxys?
Well, I mean, did the actual physical Saxxys that we got say 2018 on them?
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So we all thought it was funny because there was kind of like that confusion when the videos were coming out. Some people were putting 2017 on their videos, and some people were putting 2018 on them. And then in the comments, they're like, "This is 2018. Why are you putting 2017? You're doing the wrong year." And it was always like on the site 2017, 2017. So we were sticking to it.
Yep.
And then all the items started coming out, and they were all 2018. And we were like, "Okay, nothing matters anymore."
Yeah. So it must have been very disheartening. Okay, right. Let's take it all the way back to your entry for the Saxxys. If we think about when you put the entry forward, you must have been working on this for a very long time. I mean, given that the 2016 Saxxys ended, and I imagine at that stage people started thinking about what they're going to do for 2017, and then 2017 came along and there wasn't a Saxxy. How long had you been working on your entry before you realised there wasn't going to be a Saxxy entry in 2017?
I want to say I totally asked them this question ahead of time, and I forgot to actually write it down. I think it was around June they all started on it, and we kind of like more later in the year we started coming in. We really started late, and then we got to a point where like, okay, it's not happening, and we all kind of just gave up for a few months. Like, okay, it's not happening. We're not doing anything on it, and we'll see if they announce it for next year, or pick up when they finally do. And then it was like January they announced it, and we were like, oh I guess we're gonna cram now, and then we just kind of went nuts. It was, the bulk of Agent Gunn was from like January to the beginning of March.
Yeah.
But you already had a plan. I mean, you already had the idea of what it was going to be. You'd already kind of scripted it, presumably.
For the most part, yeah. Like the script was done, but it was kind of like a little bit rough. It really got serious when it got announced in like January-ish.
Okay. Well, since the two of you are on here, and I looked just before the show kicked off at all of the people involved in Agent Gunn, and actually, if you jog through the winners. Boardroom was the action winner. That was just Jig. The comedy winner was Chicken, and that was Strike and Murray. And as you go through, like each entry has more and more people involved in it until you get down to Agent Gunn, and there is pretty much a who's who of like anything to do with Team Fortress 2 in there. I counted them up, but there must be like 12...
19.
19 people.
Yeah.
If you exclude the additional sound by sound snap, which I kind of want to get into. I don't know whose decision that was, but it was genius. But like there were 19 of you involved in it. Did you start off with 19 in the team, or did it just start creeping?
I think it started creeping as we started in a Discord. It was a bit of a goof, and just people started talking. It was like, "Hey, excitement! Let's do this!" And
yeah, it was actually the Frontline Discord, like our group that we did to organize Frontline. So it's a lot of people from that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not from Frontline.
Oh,
by
that's
the
right.
way.
That's right. I always forget that actually.
I just got tumbled along for the ride, and I decided to stick close by. And yeah, from what I can gather, it just started gaining momentum.
I mean,
yeah, it's kind of like at the beginning we had this like, hey, who's interested in doing a Saxxy? And it was like me. Like everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. This sounds cool. And we had this huge group of people, and it was kind of the point of, should we cull people or should we just try to make the coolest thing and say screw it? Because like there was like always that kind of thought in the back of your mind, like, well, if by chance we make something really cool and we win, are they really gonna want to fly like 19 people out? There was always that little bit in there, but we were like, that's not an important thing. Let's just make something really cool with this like cool group of people that all are making amazing things. Combine the power into this like dream team and make some really cool stuff.
So obviously 19 people turning up. You've won. Oh, congratulations! Go climb there. But I don't think you don't really need me to say congratulations on that one. The whole internet has congratulated you at this point. There is going to be at some stage a tour of the new Valve offices by 19 people, presumably all at the same time.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what percentage of a plane that is, because most of you are going to have to be flown out at one stage or another, possibly from different parts of the world.
Yeah, most definitely.
Good luck coordinating the calendar date for that one.
Yeah, we're still working on it right now. We're trying to get it settled. It's been a bit of a challenge for sure.
I don't see why they don't just rent you out a house or even like a series of hotel rooms, bring your entire families out there, dump the kids in the creche. I'm sure they'll have wonderful times as well. So with 19 of you working on this, who, if anyone, would be like the director?
I'd say Seti.
Yeah, Sedimentary Socks was probably... He was kind of the one corralling us all in, and he's the one that ultimately like edited it all together. He did all the lighting too, which some amazing lighting in the video.
Yeah, without doubt, Sedimentary Socks is the MVP of the project.
Okay, well I'm going to kind of quietly play it in the background as well, because it's a beautiful experience. There was so much about this particular thing that realistically made it, if not like flat out winner, then certainly gave you a very, very good chance of winning. But there's even little things like at the beginning with the plants that were swaying in the water. Like, how much of the stuff was made just for this?
Most of it, probably.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah, like I went through and I had all the assets mounted to my TF2 folders when I was like mapping on it, and I pulled those assets out, and I was going back into the map, and I was like, wow, there's literally like a handful of textures, and then it's just errors everywhere. and all the like most of the textures were missing because it was all custom textures, all custom models, all like everything was custom on it.
I've seen tweets from people saying these are the things that I made, and there's fish, there's skulls, there's weeds, there's the submarine, the underwater submarine, even things down to grates. Like, I mean, for you, Crash, I know particularly that you're as a map maker. Apart from anything else, it must be incredibly tempting to use those things in your maps. I'm
actually really trying to force them to optimize them because they're designed for Source Filmmaker, so everything's a lot higher poly than they would be for in-game. And I've been pushing them, and I know they're listening right now, so hey, you guys should go do that. I really want those assets to be made into like a prop pack to be released officially for mappers to use, because there's some amazing assets and there's some really cool, just like even some of the background stuff you don't notice. Did you know that in the villain's lair, there is far in the background, you see it for like one shot, a custom V-shaped bookcase. It's like the most background thing in the world, and one of the members of the team made this. It's back there. That could be used for something else.
I'm desperately skipping forward to the moment to see if I can see this V-shaped. Oh, I've seen it. It's when he drops down. Oh yes, it's like V for villain. It's brilliant. Yeah. So with everything being handcrafted, everything was like painfully and painstakingly put together. How did you? I mean, a genuine. Now that I start thinking about it, I'm struggling to imagine how. Just because you don't have references, you can't structure this kind of thing. Like, is there somewhere a sketchbook full of scene by scene drawings of what everything will look like? What were your references when you were piecing together the bits that you made for it?
That's all done by the very talented Blaholtzen / Badger Pig is his online handle, and Square, as those two were absolute machines and just created all the concept artwork that the other artists could work from.
And there wasn't a whole lot of like shot by shot concept art. Like some of them was like, I know the beginning opening shot with like the volcano, like that was one of the like early concepts that got done up. But most of it was like concept art for, certain models or the fish or the characters themselves. And it was like a lot of little bits and pieces. And then it was all kind of put together in the end with, the animators doing it. Like I was talking to Frying. We haven't really had a chance to just sit down and talk between the two of us since all this. And we were both kind of just made these cool things. And then we handed it to the animators who were just like making crazy good stuff with it. And it was like an amazing ride for us because we were just making stuff. And they're like, here, what are you going to do with it? And we're like, oh, look what they're doing with it. Like, it was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Insane.
That must have been like your imagination's flying there, and like every time you made something, it was brought to life by the animation. I mean, most of even things like the particle effects, the flecks of dust in the air that gave atmosphere to the project. Like,
one of my favorite little tiny details is in the break room scene when they're fighting and they're like kind of like swirling around each other. The cards that are on the floor are actually getting flicked up into the air with their feet. And it blows my mind that was even done because it's like really accurate looking too.
I'm playing it back now while we're talking. I'm playing it back in like quarter speed.
Yeah, I did that. I've done that so many times since.
The frogman coming out of the water, like as he's resting and waiting for like the guard to move past, he stood there and there are drips of water that come off him. Like nobody would see that. In real time, nobody would see it, but every single thing that exists within this cinematic experience needed to be handcrafted, needed to be hand animated, and it's an extraordinary thing. Do you think that was what it was that Valve decided to pick up on? That Valve said, "Look, this is the pinnacle of SFM at this stage. This needs to be rewarded first place."
Maybe. It's hard to say. You never know with Valve. You never know what they're noticing, what they're seeing. If you did, that's what you would cater to. So in the end, you just ultimately make the coolest thing you can, something that's impressive to you and impressive to the people who are working on the project, and then hopefully they see it the same way.
Yeah, I think the biggest drive for the team was just to make the coolest thing ever instead of winning a Saxxy.
Yeah, there must have been a point where you thought, well, okay, regardless of whether or not we win, like even the concept of winning must have been utterly irrelevant to you. Like you must have just got swept up in the whole, this is awesome, let's do something awesome.
Yeah, for sure. There were times that we were like, kind of downtrodden, like, oh, we've put all this time into it, and who knows what's going to come of it. But like, you know what? We made a kick-ass video, and that's all that matters. Like, this is a really cool project that we did.
Yeah. I made the mistake of watching this now because I'm totally 100% distracted. Like, it flows, scene to scene flows, all the beautiful camera angles. And we've just got to the break scene now, and we're seeing like the cards being held in the hands. Like, did cards exist in SFM before?
No, those were custom.
Oh.
I'm sure there were cards at some point. I don't really know about all the assets, but those were custom made for it. Like if you look at the details too, like the chips have TF2 logos on them. Like the cards, I believe. Yeah, the beer. It's Bad Gyneken beer.
It's brilliant.
So and then like the cards themselves have little tiny TF2 logos on it. There's some really, really cool little details. Like I think part of it was we had so many modelers and artists, and it was like the animation takes a long time. So meanwhile, the modelers and artists were like coming up with all these really cool, background things and little things that they wanted to throw in. It was just, it took minimal effort for the animators to do it, and while the animators were working, everybody was making this extra little stuff to put in there. So it just kept getting added on and on and on.
Okay, is there anything in particular that you made? Did you make the base? Is that what you did, Crash?
I did the submarine bay at the very beginning. I did the break room, which was modified a little bit by Void. I suppose the vent up on top, and then I did the hallway that he travels through, like the sneaky stealth part.
Right.
But then Void absolutely knocked it out of the park with the rocket room. Is just, as a mapper, like there was some insane work put into that room. It's very, very impressive to me. But then he did the layer itself, like the guy's office, which is part of the rocket room, and then he did the outside shots as well as the underwater. So the really cool, pretty shots, those were Void. I did the like industrial
spaces.
Yeah.
But I can imagine like the submarine room in particular being a level, or being part of a level, or part of a map. So I can almost see your influence on that.
We were sort of talking, Void and I and a couple of us were kind of talking about maybe making a playable map out of some of the stuff. Like, as it is right now, it wouldn't work at all. Like, it's not a playable scene, especially with the high poly props. Like, for example, one of the highest poly props is a grate that's on the ground. It's like something like 1,600 tries, and it's just so the light can come through it and create this really nice shadow. And it's just this flat piece with holes all over, the grating.
Okay.
So when it pans to the rocket room, you see this nice like sharp lighting coming through it. That's why that model is so high poly. And then there's like 24 of them or something ridiculous in that room.
I'm watching the fight scene again, and now that I'm seeing it more slowly, it actually feels better. Like the first time I watched this, I thought the fight was unrealistic. It was too slow, and a lot of the movements weren't right for like humans or for the characters that they were being animated from. But slowed down, it actually feels much more impressive. It's one camera angle that follows the whole thing through. And to do that as a cinematic piece is extraordinary. Like, on its own, if you look sort of back at previous Saxxy entries from, like, back in the day, from 2012, 2013, there were entries that were just a fight scene. So to incorporate a fight scene of this level into just part of, or one, like, make not the fight scene. I'm saying this really badly. I think I'll have more beer. But you know what I mean, though. It's like how how much effort went into deciding that you're going to dedicate maybe 25% of the entire thing into this one fight scene?
The fight scene was actually one of the earliest things made. Like
Yep.
It was pretty much animated sequentially, and Void was busy working on some other projects, so I did the sub bay and I did the break room first. And once the sub bay was kind of cranked out, it was like a really, I want to say it was like slow progress at the beginning, but it was because it was going into these like really crazy scenes, and that fight scene was part of that. So it was a pretty good chunk. Like, it was before we were like, I don't think this is going to happen this year. That was pretty much when the fight scene was getting worked on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like, not look. I'm just going to close my eyes and not watch this at all. You'd have thought that by now I had it burned into my eyes, because I've sort of seen this so many times. Looking at the numbers, though, there's only 23,000 views of this, which only 23,000. But there are more views for, like, I don't know, a YouTuber doing a...
We actually did multiple uploads because a lot of the animators who worked on it wanted to put it on their own channels. So there's some out there with like a crazy amount of views. That's the main one, but there's some out there with a lot more views.
Yeah.
So thankfully.
How much do you think that the doing it that way? I mean, there's a lot of people involved in this. A lot of people were pushing this. So, for example, right at the beginning, when this Saxxy was first shown to the public, people started pushing out almost a campaign of tweets, and of people being very happy with themselves and the work that they'd done. Like, do you think that perhaps built into the great feeling that people had, or the love people had for this animation, for this SFM in particular, for this entry? I mean, is that something, looking at it purely from a I want to win perspective, would you say that that's a great idea for other people to pick up on?
I think it helped, but it was genuinely and honestly just people being proud of their work and just sharing what they've done, and not with the intent to win even more.
Win more. We're only winning.
Yeah,
let's win more.
It's my bad choice of words, but you get what I mean.
Dude,
like, people
before the announcements came out and we were kind of releasing some extra stuff, it was more like we had been sitting on this stuff for months, and we were so excited to finally show off all the like work that had been getting put into this, and like we're like, look at this concept art, and like look at this like stupid thing that we came up with in a crunch time haze. Like, I know No Name's left. He animated. Or he did a model swap of Shrek in the fight scene for the agent.
Yeah.
And we were waiting to reveal that because he did it in the middle of the project.
Yeah.
And he put all the sound effects in it. It's just the goofiest thing that we were like dying laughing over.
That's brilliant. I want to see.
But we were like, we don't want to release that until everything's done, because we feel like, we don't want to mix things up. We don't want to confuse people. Like,
well, presumably as well, you got all of the history of other people's Saxxys, of people that have created. I'm thinking End of the Line. Well, like the preview to End of the Line. I have a better affinity with the preview to End of the Line, the trailer, than I do to End of the Line, the movie. Like, End of the Line movie was great and everything, but it took too long to make, and kind of the hype. The hype died before the train left the station, kind of thing. Whereas this kind of launched, and it's not feature length. It's like 5 minutes long, but it feels like it's telling a story. It feels like you're invested in it while you're watching it. And yes, there are a lot of interesting things going on here. I've literally just seen the image of the. It tells you what's on each floor, the laboratory and the meeting room, spelled MEAT,
which is one of my favorite like little jokes in it.
Yeah,
I love
that. Shark access. Also,
real quick to Edgar, I guess a lot of people are saying your voice is sort of low in the mix.
Okay, I shall do something about that. Really, my voice is low.
I know, it's amazing.
We're overpowering you.
You were very loud at the beginning, and then you got more drunk, and you tapered off a bit.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take my headset off, and that way I can be more. I think it's because I keep leaning back and just watching, as opposed to really sort of getting my chompers in there and talking my ass off on this one. But yes, so what you've created, what you've done here is give us a feature-length movie in 5 minutes. Does that mean that we will never see, if when you visit Valve in impossible dates to imagine actually happening because there's 19 of you to organize, it's like trying to get a Highlander team to turn up anywhere. But like it's with all 19 of you in a room, if Valve sort of take you into the conference room, lock the doors, and say, right, we've got you here now, what will it take to make you make the next End of the Line 2 or Agent Gunn the movie? Is that something that you could imagine doing? Is it something that you can personally or individually invest the time to do? Is there enough going on in the zeitgeist of Agent Gunn in order to create something bigger than you've already done so far?
I would say definitely, in the sense that were so many ideas that got cut from this because of the short window of time that we had. But I do know that the second that this video was done, and like or not when it was done, but when it got announced that we won best overall, we like all collectively lost our minds. And then it was no more than an hour later, and the whole like Discord was lit up with people coming up with the next idea and like more things they want to do. And I was like, guys, you won, just calm down. Like, holy crap, relax. You don't need to create right now. And they're like, no, we got all these ideas, and they were like coming up with like the next storyboards and like.
Well, once you've been crunching for such a long time, you don't just instantly stop. No, you continue.
Yeah.
So what are you? I mean, right now, what are you doing other than being on the podcast with me right now? Are you? Can you leak this to me? Are you working on another Agent Gunn?
I'm currently. I mean, I'm making maps, so I'm doing what I always do. I'm working on a contest map right now, so I'm not working on anything Source Filmmaker related. If there was something that was going to come out, I certainly couldn't tell you though.
Oh, right. Are we doing that game then? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. So what are you...
I mean,
spill the beans.
If you could
people are dying.
Let's go the other way around then. If you could take something from this and make it part of the real game itself, whether it's the map that you created for it, whether it's a particular item, whether it's having like the shark be the 10th class, what is it that you want, or not necessarily something that you made, but something that was made by the team that became the whole of Agent Gunn? What would you like to have from this be part of Team Fortress 2?
Everything?
Yeah, like ideally, I mean.
Really though? Would you want that? I mean, that's because it changes. Like even the goons. Like the goons in the fight scene, they're non-standard goons.
You're a goon.
You're a goon.
No, you. Anyway, I don't know, I feel like there's potential there. It's sort of, as we were talking about it, it feels like a broader sort of TF2 related thing. It's not the main TF2 story, but it's like stuff that's going on in another part of the TF2 world. That's how we were kind of thinking about it. And we do feel like there was more room for expansion of other things in that world, of other, the TF2 team exists, but they're not necessarily always involved,
Yeah. Like
it's the greater TF2 world.
Having been
exactly
to like the Valve offices, and like they have all of their little cabals where there's everybody who's working on a particular game sits in a different office to people who are working on a different type of game. Like the meeting rooms we passed by where they were creating different weapons and such. I could see that being it sort of pulled a little bit from Portal, pulled a bit from Black Mesa, pulled from TF2, from Manco, and created like these additional scenarios. That for me felt very Valve. It felt very aware. Oh my god, I've just seen the shark eat the man. Oh, that is so grim.
Oh, really quick, actually, about that scene, I was a little bit disappointed. It got cut down for time, but just before that scene, it was supposed to be a static shot of that goon standing above the thing, and he was like bobbing to the music. And it was really hilarious how this like goon was just like jamming out to his headphones. And I know Five, who did the audio, put like this really subtle like background track in that's kind of buried in there.
Yep.
That's in his headphones. That's what he's listening to, and he's just jamming along. And then the agent walks up and just casually throws him in. It's like the poor bastard was just grooving out, having fun, feeding a shark.
I mean,
death.
That is so. It goes back to the whole thing with having a director, having someone who controls the entire experience. So many of the entries we've seen in the past, not necessarily this year round, but on previous Saxxys, they've been too long. They've been great pieces, but they would have not been suffered a blow by having their 5-minute SFM cut down to 30 seconds. 30 seconds would have been awesome. So, who got the final say on what stayed in, what got cut out? Was that Seti?
I think it was Seti, or otherwise it was just a team decision.
Yeah, it's
everything
pretty much
was discussed.
Okay, right. Let's make the team thing real then for people who are watching now. I love the hat bouncing off his chest. That's brilliant. Let's make the team thing real. How was the team organized? You're all in different locations, different time zones, different parts of the world, and you all had to work together to make this real. What tools, what facilities, what agreements did you have in place to ensure that you could continue working fruitfully?
I know at least on the map side of things, like when Void and I worked on stuff, we all had Dropbox going and we synced everything up, so we always had a synced Dropbox folder of all our assets. But if Void was going to be working on something of the map, we would let each other know not to touch it at that time. He would save a new version in case anything breaks, and we just had iterated in that regard, like tagged our name on the end. I know with the animation, by the end, we actually had a channel in our Discord called File Check, and they would say, I'm working on this animation file or this DMX for the break room scene, or I'm working on this, and then they would check in, and when they were done, they would check back out, so nobody was overlapping, and it actually worked out really well.
That's actually, I mean, so you say that by the end, was that because there was a big problem at some stage, or was this just things where people had previously worked in groups together and kind of knew how to make these things work?
I wouldn't say it was any big problems. I think there's a little bit of overlap early on, and it was like, okay, we need to get organized, and that's what came out of it. It wasn't anything drastic or like horrible, but there was a few little instances that somebody ended up overriding somebody else's work or something.
Wow.
So we're like, okay, time to get organized with it.
Yeah. And presumably that's something that you will take into whatever projects you do next.
Yeah, for sure.
As a team.
That was a great idea. I honestly, like, at the end, I realized I was like, Void, why weren't we like telling them in the same file check when the maps were updated? Like, there was a bunch of little things. I was like, why didn't I do it this way? So
that's really cool. I mean, I wonder whether, because there were, I mean, the winner of the, I'm going to bring it back now, the leak, incidentally leak. I honestly thought, Crash, that you were involved in, because really, like the last part of like UEAK, I thought it was a riff on UEAK. Leak is spelled the same as UEAK.
Oh yeah, I did notice that later on. I pointed that out to somebody too. Yeah,
I thought that you were involved in Leak.
Nope.
I thought you were just like being clever about it, but you weren't. But like Leak had a lot of people involved in it, and they must have followed fallen foul of similar problems. But whether or not you utilize the skills that you've learned and picked up through working in this very large team, I hope that other people will like the people who have worked in this team will propagate out that information into other large teams, and come up with similarly prosperous solutions in the future. So can I say, is it fair to say that the team that created Agent Gunn is either in whole or in part going to continue working together?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good news and a much shorter answer than I was hoping for. Right.
I can tell you this. Like a lot of the team started with Frontline. We grouped up with Frontline. We learned how to work together with Frontline. We brought more people in, like Frying, after the fact. But we worked really well together with Frontline. It was all like doing the Frontline project was just everybody making really cool stuff and being super excited about it and releasing it into the wild, and was like just really positive environment to work on. So when we started working on the Agent Gunn movie, it was kind of channeling that same thing, and we brought in some more people and we brought in some more things, and we've ended up calling ourselves Team Top Horse, which was the code name for Frontline back in the day of that. And Team Top Horse seems to be growing further. So,
so like, I've always wanted to go back to the people who have done well out of Team Fortress 2 and kind of take them to one side and do an interview with them. Because some of them have gone on to do extraordinary things. They've either now work for large studios that are totally unrelated to Valve, but totally in the gaming environment, or else that their lives have just taken on new roles and responsibilities that they perhaps wouldn't have had the chance to do. Could you see? Is it too early to say? Am I? Oh my God! I've just seen the thing in Frontline where the medic sticks the sword into the scout's leg and then he falls off the table. Sorry, completely distracting. But anyway, could you see a possibility for your group to become this animation group, or perhaps something working beyond the boundaries of SFM? Would it be a long shot to say that Blizzard might hire you to make the next movie about, I don't know what games does Blizzard make?
Aggro, you're apparently really, really quiet again.
Okay.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
And I think you need to tune yourself up, not just get closer to the mic.
All right, I shall do that. But while I'm doing that, is there a possibility that the guys, that all of the people involved in this are going to start their own company and start working together?
Well, if the opportunity ever arises, I'm sure plenty of people on the team are going to just jump on that and definitely do it. But it really depends on everyone's personal life, as I'm currently trying to get another internship at a gaming company. I'm getting my game published, and yeah, everyone is doing their own thing. But if the opportunity arises for all of us to band together, get into a house and make some video games, movies, whatever, I'm pretty sure everyone says yes.
Yeah, I know I've pushed the idea of Top Horse games a couple times to them. just kind of gauge an interest. Like, that would be really neat if we did this. We have a crazy crew of like really talented modelers and texture artists and animators and level design people and like concept artists. Like, they're mostly there. We just need some programmers and like game designers, and we pretty much have a game company there. But I think for the most part, we're just kind of doing our own things and making cool stuff together when the opportunity arises, but nothing official.
Okay, well, it's not the great news I was hoping for, but at least you guys are still working together and still like good friends on the back of this. Okay, so what was it that you saw? What did you see as being your primary competition? When all submissions were made for the Saxxys and you got a chance to see what other people had put their hearts and souls into creating, what is it that you saw that you thought was either extraordinary or at least very, very good, and possibly would be enough to give you a run for your money?
I know Leak, we were pretty confident it was going to go between us and Leak. Like, the other ones were really cool too, but we felt like Leak was really flashy, and it had some really, really cool things about it. So we were kind of like, one of us is probably going to get it, but we were like, at that point, like when it got down to the end of it, you never know with Valve. Like, after to map name drop a little bit, but after Overgrown, I was very, very confident that Overgrown was going to get the jungle update. Mm-hmm. And when it didn't, I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about what Valve wants. I'm never going to assume again.
Yeah.
So you never know with them. You never know what they're going to do.
What are you frying?
That's hard. Personally, I really like the Ice Cream Man video, but when it comes to actual competition, who else could win? I think Leak, most definitely.
I got to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't win, which is a weird thing to say. Like, to you
they did win. They win Best Extended.
Best Extended.
They definitely won like Best Extended, but I personally wanted to see the people who were involved in Leak get their trip. In particular, Py-bun, who's just an extraordinary artist, an animator.
I think they did a great job, but I am personally biased towards our own.
No,
video.
obviously,
and our own team.
Nothing I could say now would change the outcome. Yeah, you guys are going. It's not up to me.
Yeah.
But I think there are certain individuals like Py-bun. I'm kind of selling a big at this moment that have done extraordinary things for Team Fortress 2, for the community, for pushing forwards the boundaries, or pushing beyond the boundaries of SFM, and creating incredible things. That I would love to see Valve acknowledge them. Do you think that in general, looking at the Saxxys, looking at how Valve treats the Saxxys as opposed to how Valve treats whatever they do for the Dota competition, do you think it's fair? Is it right? Is there more that can be had from the Saxxys? Has the entries that have gone forwards this year, the 2017/2018 entries, would that be enough to make Valve pay more attention and perhaps give out the big money prizes and the invitations galore to people from around the world?
I think it's folly to try to guess what Valve's going to do with anything.
Okay.
Like really, like I know kind of like what I said before, but like there's no guessing. Valve does what Valve does with who they have, basically.
If you were Valve, would you give more to Source Filmmaker? Would you give more to the Saxxys? Would you give more to TF2?
That's a pretty easy question, I think, because we're going to be very biased towards the creators. Like we're part of the creation community. Mm-hmm. Of course, we want better tools. Of course, we want more effort put in. Of course, we want bigger prizes and better rewards for all the effort that people are putting in, for sure.
Yes. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a stupid question to ask in the first place. Do you want more money? Yeah. No. Please. That'd be great.
Yes, I would definitely. They should buy all of my maps. They should put all of my friends' models in.
Do you actually make anything out of this? I mean, you get the trip to Valve, and that's great, and I'm sure they'll treat you very well while you're there. But do you make anything from this?
I get to meet all the people I've known for 9 years online.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
That's the real reward.
That's the reward.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's such a meme answer. Okay, right. So I think we've squarely covered the Saxxys in general. We've definitely covered your entry, the Agent Gunn stuff. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about Agent Gunn that I really should have done, or are you glad that I didn't ask because it'd be a tough time for you to answer?
Our favorite animal on the movie.
Well, there's only one, isn't there?
No.
What?
There are multiple. There's a shark. There's multiple fish.
Is a fish an animal?
There's the dog. What? What, Aggro? Did you really just ask us if a fish is an animal?
I thought a fish was a fish. I thought animals were mammals. Is that not how that works?
Aggro, I'm so disappointed.
Okay, all right. So, your favorite fish then?
The flatfish. That's yeah, easily.
What? Which one's the flatfish?
This actually okay. So at the very beginning of the shot, right. if you go back to the beginning of it, after it pans down the water and the fish swim away, it's there for not more than maybe 2 seconds tops. But there's a fish and he's got the goofiest looking eyes, and we were just dying laughing.
The blue face, is that one?
I don't remember off the top of my head, honestly. I remember seeing it gray before it got textured more than anything. So
I genuinely don't know which one the flatfish is.
Okay, so he's on the ground. If you see the skeleton hand, he's on the ground.
That's a fish?
Yeah, wait till he goes up. Just wait.
Okay, all right. No, you're right. That's a fish.
And if you can pause it when he's kind of in the shot and his goofy ass eyes, we have multiple emotes of him in our Discord. I think he was the team favorite.
Really bastard. The MVP.
Yeah, he was the MVP of Agent Gunn for sure.
Okay.
I'm legit disappointed that he didn't get featured more.
Well, hang on. Surely, does he have 2 eyes on one side of his face?
Yep.
That's how a flatfish works.
What?
Yep. That is a legit animal. An animal, Aggro. An animal.
Really? And it feels wrong. Flatfish. I'm googling flatfish now, and I don't know that that's yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like in this universe that's how fish work, but I'm not sure that's how it works in other people's universes.
Is this a real fish?
It's
Swear to God.
No.
I know. Honestly, when they did it, I wasn't entirely like convinced either. I was like, wait, what's up with this? And then I like saw the pictures and I was like, holy shit, that's a real thing, and it's ridiculous looking.
Right. Okay. Now I spent far too much time looking at pictures of fish. Now this is not what I had intended at all. I also think I need to Google, is a fish an animal? Is a fish an animal? There are many different types of animal. Animal class. No, you're right. Okay, right. I'm corrected now. I am okay. Right. So.
Oh, you're killing me, Agro.
Today I learned.
I'm dying. I need a drink. I wish I had one now.
I'm pouring me some vodka right now. Like, holy shit.
It's working. It's finally working. Right. So your favorite animal was the flatfish. I didn't see that coming at all. So is there loads and loads of, like, when you talk about like the emojis that exist in your own Discord, will they ever see the light of day? Will there be? I mean, I know that Crash, you stream a lot, so there's opportunities there for emojis to penetrate through into your streaming environments. Are we gonna see a whole bunch of flatfish appearing as like your next like donation goal emoji?
I'm not sure the world is ready for that.
Yeah. The world cannot handle our flatfish.
Okay, all right. Well, that's something that people will never know then, and never be able to experience for themselves. I feel a little bit like I feel like I've been hinted at the possibility of the greatest experience of my life, and then just had it pulled away from me. I don't deserve to be exposed to the flatfish. Right.
Well, so seeing how you like completely diss the animal, like say it's like not actual existing thing.
You just said it wasn't even an animal. You were not worthy.
No,
You're just defending the fish.
I know. I made a terrible mistake here. This is not gone entirely to plan at all.
You can't handle the flatfish.
I can't handle the flatfish. The dog. I kind of want to see the dog in game. Like that's the dog. What's the name of the dog, by the way? Is that known? Is that part of the?
Oh, Scud.
Scud. Yeah.
Right. I've seen an image of him with his bowl and it says Scud on it. Does he have like his name written anywhere in scene that we'd be able to?
In the movie, not sure. Probably not. But on the workshop entry, for example, it's clearly named.
There's actually a poster. I believe it's visible in the panning shot of the hallway. At the very least, I know I put it in there. I don't know if it actually showed up, but there's a.
It's in the poster. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's a poster about it that says his name on there too.
Because there's the picture in the villain's lair with the villain and his dog and the shark in the background. That's above the V-shaped bookcase.
Yep.
So now I'm going to spend like the rest of my day trying to find this poster, this bloody poster with a dog in it.
As soon as the rocket past the rocket room and it zooms in on the doorway that's at the meeting room, it'll cut to the next scene and it should be right there on the left, I believe.
Okay, I'm going to play this slightly faster than quarter speed, as I go insane. Okay, I go to half speed. Right, it's panning, it's zooming. He's opening a case. There's Scud panting away. And that look in his eyes when he's looking at his master, being just greatly pleased by the glowing light that comes out of the case. And then he looks at his coffee. It pans down. This is great radio, by the way. And you can see the 2-1. He looks to the left. There's the poster.
Agent Gunn livecast with aggro.
And perfectly. He pours the rest of his coffee out, and it falls on the floor. And there's a poster. Slackers keep the shark fed. Is there another poster just to the left of that?
Oh, is it not visible? Yeah. It's totally just like, I think the fade kind of cut it a little bit, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame. Yeah. I can see that there probably was a poster. Like, there's definitely a poster, but it's not visible what it is. So I guess we just don't get to know during the stream, during the project. What's this poster? Authorized personnel only. Something. I want to see. Yeah, I do want to see these assets in game. That's absolutely 100%. I want to see these assets in game. I want to see the sharks with lasers. I want to see. I want to see the stuff that's on the chalkboard. Find its way into real life, or not real life, into real game. Anyway, thank you very much for sharing your insights about.
Oh yeah. Sorry. In chat,
Yeah.
5:56 p.m. Just linked. He's actually the sound guy 5. He linked 2 of the posters that aren't really seen that well, and it's the Scud one that you can't see.
He's also linked to a picture of a flatfish. Oh, there we go. Mind your gun. Number 1. Mistake costs employees, and Scud goes where he pleases. Nice. Okay. All right.
It's mind your gun. 1 mistake costs 2 employees. So it's like if you friendly fire,
you get shot.
You're fired.
Yes. Mind your gun.
With bullets.
I see. Yes. Okay. Scud goes where he pleases. Nice. Beautiful stuff. Like, so much of this stuff is just... Okay, is there a list somewhere of all of the things? Like, I feel like you could create your own website just for this one animation and fit with all of the things.
Oh, we most definitely could with the amount of content. But your best bet right now is just go on Twitter.
Yeah, we've been kind of slowly trickling everything out. Somebody was like, hey, can I post this? Can I post this? You know,
yeah.
People putting the work that they did out there and just some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I would ideally like to put together some videos, or a video at least, of some of the behind-the-scenes things, because I feel like there's a lot of content there. But who knows what's going to happen, really.
I would absolutely say that is worth doing. I just want, like, if not have that so that people could scan through it and lift the things that they want to and be inspired by the things that they want to be inspired by. Like, just watch it 1,000 times. Like, my experience of talking to you guys, it's like that thing where you got, like, your favorite movie and then you get the director's cut where he's talking over it, and you think, oh, that's true. I hadn't noticed that person fell out of that window while he was holding a finger up or something. That, like, there was just so much depth to this, and I certainly have gained an appreciation that I probably had before, but I kept quiet about. I don't know whether is that an insult. And, like, just talking to you guys and listening to you and having you go through the movie it's extraordinary work, and you should be very rightfully pleased with the work that you've done. And the entire team as well. Like, how many of them are watching this right now?
Quite a few. I'm not really exactly sure how many though.
Okay. Let's give you an opportunity to shout out the entire team. The list,
Jesus Christ,
by the way, is extensive. There are 19 of them. Could you go through, like, who did what, or, like, whatever their skill sets were they brought to the stream, to the team?
Sure.
Not it.
No.
Okay. There's Hypo.
Hypo was one of the animators.
Right. No names left.
And no names left. Well, obviously animating as well.
Right. Seti.
Seti was pretty much the main guy who just brilliantly did everything that needed to be doing.
Okay. Mind you, too, Sedimentary Socks, he got 2 Saxxys this year because he worked on the portrait one with the Scout.
Yep.
He finished ours. He edited ours up. While it was uploading, he was editing that one. Like, the dude is a machine.
That's extraordinary. Okay. Well, congratulations on both of those. Is it Caligos?
Caligos? What did he do again? Oh god,
he's an animator.
Exactly. I was just gonna say animator. Okay, shit. Right. My bad.
There was so many people on the team. It was kind of hard to keep track of what everybody was doing. We just saw all this, like, crazy content getting made.
All right,
and it's hard to match in that crunch time exactly who did what.
So many people did their absolute maximum effort in this. It's insane. Just keep repeating it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have Don Hong, which is one of the great modelers who, pretty much modeled every little tiny thing you see.
Yep.
We have Populous, great animator. He animated the hallway scene, if I remember correctly, which is absolutely stellar. Everyone's favorite bit, or at least my favorite bit. We have Blaholtson, which is literally a machine, as he concepted everything. He art directed everything. He
not quite everything. Square did a bunch of the concepts too, but Blah did.
We're getting to Square like next, like Square is equally amazing. But Blaholtson textured also quite a lot of models, if not pretty much everything at this point. Like, just insane guy. Square, at the exact same level as Blaholtson, just making the concept art, doing the script, doing the big think about everything, and just making the content. Then we have Five, our audio guy, and all the SFX and sounds music was done by them. And
big shout out to Five, because he got it sort of late in comparison to everybody else, because the final cut wasn't done until pretty late. So getting all the timing and everything like that, he was kind of on the fly, and he did some of the coolest stuff. Like he had his project like synced up to the frames of the short itself. Like, I don't know if that's a normal thing, but I thought that was a really cool touch. And I did a little bit of drumming for the break room scene. It's actually me playing live drums, and he mixed me and cut some of my parts of drumming.
Wow.
And made me sound like a much better drummer than I am, honestly, to be completely honest about it. But it was really cool to see that happen.
So what are you up to?
Crash, of course. Well, I think we all know what Crash did at this point.
Just the drums.
Just
exactly.
The drums. Nice.
Void, an environment artist. He did texture work for a bunch of props, and I'm pretty sure he modeled a couple of things as well. Like,
I don't think he modeled, but I know he did some materials for the environments themselves too.
For example, the coral at the very first scenes, that's textured by both Void and Fuzzy Mellow. As Fuzzy Mellow is the next one on our team. Well, they did textures as well, environment art. And then we have Zoe, the one and only, and she made Agent Gunn. Like, she made the actual model of Agent Gunn. We have Neo Demons, also modeler, texture artist, doing all the cool stuff behind the scenes you see in the backgrounds. Same for Harry. One thing that I can mention Harry did was the headphones the Goon has in the shark scene where he feeds the shark. He's listening to his music, and the headphone he wears is done by Harry, for example. We have that G-Man, pretty much doing the exact same thing as me and the others. And oh my god, I'm currently like reading up like people calling me out on mispronouncing their names. So much fun. But that G-Man was along with me and the others making environment art props. For example, in the hallway scene, the meat grinder you see is done by him. Colte is one of the other amazingly talented people doing pretty much everything model-wise. I'm pretty sure he was... Did Colte do Agent... No, not Agent V, but the villain?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. So many people did so many things.
Right?
I feel
it was
so
such a blur
right
too
now.
as part of it.
I'm pretty sure if I get like to meet everyone on the team, they're gonna like slap me first just for calling everything wrong. I'm gonna get murdered. Then we have
Sedimentary Socks did V. We're being told Colty did the submarine.
Right.
The subs, actually, both the subs. We're getting yelled at for fucking it all up.
They're gonna murder me.
We're getting pop quizzed here.
They had their chance. They could have been here. They could have.
You guys could have been here. I offered a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But dude, put us on here and then get mad at us for messing it up. Calling you guys out this time.
It's your role.
Oh. Well, the rest of the team then, we continue on. FryingDutchman we can skip. And then we have Bapal. And Bapal, he made the dog.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then last but not least, we can talk a little bit about myself. Let's not. But I helped out with environment props.
Let's not do that. So you actually used a sound from SoundSnap as well. Is that like a third-party application, just like a resource for audio clips?
I know we subscribe to the service, and it's basically a bunch of stock sounds, a bunch of little audio things that we could use. So Five had this big database of stuff. Otherwise, he was basically only limited to what he was legally allowed to use, which is the source stuff.
Right.
Like all the audio from all the different source games. So we had a proper license for SoundSnap to use all those audio files as well.
Okay.
It's actually pretty handy resource.
Yeah. I mean, like Foley seems like one of those things that, or creating your own audio for things that you need to have audio of. It seems like it'd be so easy, but actually, it's for one thing, it's not easy getting the right sound. And having like being able to access. I mean, looking at their website at the moment, they've got like literally millions of available sounds. That seems like a really easy resource to go to, and it kind of like, again, it adds to a certain sense of professionalism that you're not wasting your time trying to find the most perfect sound in the world, when then surely you can just go out and grab one.
Yeah, it's really crazy the amount of work it takes to get all those sounds. Like, you don't even think about like the drips you talked about earlier. Like, those had their own unique sound, and they all the steps, every little aspect had to be found and put into place. And I know Five did a bunch of like pitch corrections for certain things.
Yep.
I know he just said actually in our Discord that he used one of the members' voices for a sound for the shark, like adjusted. So he just revealed to us that Colty was the shark.
Nice. Is this a reveal to Colty right now as well?
He said it a little bit earlier in the Discord, but it was revealed during the podcast. Yeah.
Does the shark have a name?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I think it was just Floppy Boy.
Okay, fair enough. So I think final question for me personally, did the dog and the shark make it out alive?
The dog absolutely 100% made it out alive.
Right.
I don't know about the shark. We haven't really talked about the shark because nobody has cared enough about the shark.
Seems like
we didn't really think about that. I would assume the shark got out alive.
Too, I'll have you know.
Sharks are, in fact, animals. I'm glad you've learned this during this podcast. It was a very, very good experience for you. We taught you some things today.
Every day's a school day.
Fish are animals.
Yep. A fish is an animal that lives in the sea. Of course, it's in the song all along. Oh, I should have known. I should have known. Right. So I think that's about it. That's the entire rundown of everything you could ever possibly want to know about Agent Gunn. About the creation of the winning entry or the overall winning entry for the Saxxy Awards. It's almost not worth like spending any time talking about the rest of the Saxxys. Not to put them down in any way, just because I kind of almost want to like grab someone from each one of the Saxxy entries and have them talk about the creation, the process that went through. And I sort of like, as much as I value each of your opinions on the other entries, and the over other winners, I feel like I'm asking too much of you. But one thing I do need to ask of you right now, regardless of what I've just said, is to name for us a player of the week. Gentlemen, do you? I'm assuming gentleman is your correct pronoun.
Yeah.
Do you have? I don't know. I woke up this morning and thought I am a gentleman. But do you have someone to bring to the fore? Someone who's done something extraordinary, either for you personally or for the world of Team Fortress 2, either in the last week or throughout the entirety of time itself.
We talked about it a little bit when you gave us that time period.
Yeah.
Before the podcast, we decided we wanted to give it to Sedimentary Socks because he is the absolute Saxxy champion between working on two winning projects. I believe he actually had other projects in there, but he did so much work on ours and other projects that we wanted to give it to him.
he just knocks it out of the park, the guy.
Absolutely fine with that. Congratulations go out to Sedimentary Socks. You are this week's Player of the Week.
Yay! Oh yeah!
I know it's in there,
freaking
but I want
party.
to do it anyway.
Right, okay, right. So that's us pretty much done. I think that there's just a small squidge of time. Perhaps I could ask you gentlemen to maybe give shout-outs or point people in the direction of yourselves. Let's start with you, Frying Dutchman. First of all, why are you called Frying Dutchman?
It's a nickname I came up with when I was 11, and I used it for Battlefield 1942 because I saw some artwork of a buff guy with a tattoo on his arm that said Frying Dutchman, and I found that hilarious as I'm Dutch, and it's a pun on the Flying Dutchman.
If you're Dutch, are you going to Copenhagen Games?
If I'm Dutch, I go to Copenhagen Games. Well, that's implying that I have money.
And you're still in Dutchland? No, wait.
I'm still in Dutchland, exactly.
Yes. Right. So if you could make your way over to Copenhagen, that'd be great. We'll see you there. But okay, let's give you an opportunity now to do some shout-outs.
Some shout-outs. I would like to do a shout-out to that G-Man, as he helped me a lot during Agent Saxxy. I want to give a shout-out to pretty much everything to everyone, not everything.
To everything.
Everything.
All animals of the world.
All the
It's
animals.
a very big shout out.
Yes.
It's the shout out.
I'd say big shout out to everyone on the Saxxy team that worked on Agent Gunn, as pretty much everyone was very supporting, everyone helped each other, and everyone was just there to make the most awesome thing that they could make. And I'm thankful for that, and the results don't lie.
Right. And where do we find more about the Flying Dutchman himself?
You can find me on several things, such as Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, you name it. But most of all, just look up my Steam profile and send me a message.
That seems like a fairly safe way of going about it. UEAKCrash. We all know where to find a UEAKCrash. We just Google UEAKCrash.
Yeah.
For the most
Twitch. I've been doing Twitch streaming a lot more lately. I've been making maps on there, so check me out on there. Twitter, all of them, all of my accounts are UEAKCrash everywhere.
Makes it
I'm very easy to track down.
Any shout-outs from you?
Big shout out to my mom and pops for always being there for me.
That's so sweet.
That was a joke, actually.
That's a shame. Are you not shouting out to your parents then?
I am not, in fact.
Quite emphatically pulling that back.
Yes.
That seems like a dick move, but that's entirely up to you. Anyone?
It was a failed joke. The TF2 Maps community, my Discord group that are always there for testing my maps and stuff like that. That's it's greatly appreciated. I've always got this little community that I have that are really excited to do mapping things. That's
sweet. Okay, you pulled it back in the end there by saying something nice about people who aren't related to you. Right, so that's us done for the entire week. And in fact, the next time you see me or anything or anyone related to KritzKast, I hope that you will be seeing it through the eyes of Copenhagen Games. Let's mention it one more time while we've got a captured audience. Yes, that's correct. We will be appearing live, not the show, but the people who make up the show, me basically, and you, the audience, will all be. Congratulations! You've all won free entry to Copenhagen Games. By which I mean you'll watch my stream, and see it for yourselves. This is a really awkward way of saying it. Anyway, Copenhagen Games, land.teamfortress2.com is the location to go to. For anyone who entered the Saxxys, you've done well. And for anyone who is looking forward to a future of Team Fortress 2 related stuff, you've made the correct decision. Anyway, from me, and from UEAKCrash, and from Frying Dutchman, let us end the stream by declaring our love for all animals of the world, including fish and sharks, by doing our best impression of Scud locks in a safe.
No. I don't want to do that. You can't make me, Aggro.
Okay, just me then.
You don't pay me enough.
I can do an impression of the flatfish.
Do it.
Toads.
That was another episode of KritzKast.
Another
Nailed it.
satisfied customer.
Nailed it.
Brought to you by thepodcast.com.
Our influence grows.
For more episodes as well as our show notes, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook,
Uncomfortable
Steam Group,
silence
and
it
much
is, then.
more, head over to KritzKast.com.
Another successful procedure.
Did he just like give up, or
he couldn't handle the
I was
flatfish.
playing the outro music.
Oh. You gotta warn us.
Yeah, I assumed that the silence would be taken as so that was the outro music. Somehow I'm going to cut this later so that it seems perfectly normal. But I realised in doing this, I won't be able to do that because I'm just going to be left with the sounds of someone saying,
Yep.
did he give up? And my answer is yes, I've given up. I can't take this anymore. I'm no longer your hero. I'm not the hero that you want. I'm the hero that you deserve. You fools. The lot of you. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go onto Twitch and find someone who is appropriate of my love and deserving.
What are you even talking about anymore?
I don't know. I'm going to play some outro music, and while I do that, I'm going to mute you. So don't try anything, boyo. And then I'm going to host someone, and they're going to go, woo, 27 viewers. That's more than I've ever had in my life. So I guess be right back. Don't go anywhere.
okay?
All right.
Sounds